In this JetNet tutorial, you'll learn how to create categories and apply weights to those categories. Grade weighting allows you to take course grades, group them together into components, and make each component worth a certain percentage of the total grade in the class. This is used often when you have a number of homework assignments, for example, that may be worth a certain number of points, but you don't want that overwhelmingly large number of points on the homeworks to affect the final grade. Typically, you would make the exams worth more points in this kind of system. So to create a set of grade categories and then apply weights to them, here are the steps that you need to do. In your course, you will scroll down to grades. You'll find grades in your administration area on the left-hand side. Click on grades. When you enter your grades, you first enter the grader report. The area that we need is setup. So find setup and click on it. Now you'll see in this example course, I already have created a number of attendance items and 2 quizzes. And for that example, this will be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 categories. One is for attendance items and one is for my quizzes. Again, I'm in setup, and make sure categories and items is the area that you are in. Scroll to the bottom of the screen until you see the Add Category button. Click Add Category. The first category is attendance. Simple weighted mean of grades is the default option, and that's the one that you should retain unless you know for sure different. Decide whether you want to exclude empty grades. You would exclude empty grades if you don't want to penalize a student for not entering a grade or for not having a grade. Typically for attendance, you would not want to exclude an empty grade, so I'm going to deselect that. You can leave the rest of the items as they are unless you know for sure that you need to do something different. Click Save Changes. Now if I scroll, I'm back in the grades, in the setup, I scroll down, you now see an attendance area. This is a category that I just created. Notice that it doesn't contain any attendance items. That's not a problem. All we need to do is select the items that we want to add to the attendance category. Once I've selected them by clicking in their checkboxes, move down to the bottom and choose Move Selected Items to, click, and then choose attendance, which is the category I just created. Let the system process, and now you'll see I have attendance all grouped together in my attendance category. Now we need to create a category for our quizzes. Again, make sure you're in Setup, Categories and Items, scrolling to the bottom, click Add Category. The category for this is Quizzes. Again, leave it at simple weighted mean of grades unless you know for sure you need to change that. Again, choose if you want to exclude empty grades or not. Again, I'm not going to exclude empty grades, but in many classes that I'm familiar with, students are told that they would automatically be able to drop a grade, and you might then enter a 0 or not enter any score for that lowest grade, allowing you to drop it. There is another option that allows you to effectively tell the computer which ones to drop, and you can enter a number in here. Say you wanted to drop the lowest grade, you can choose that here if you want to. Again, save changes. Now we have created our quiz category. Quiz is right here, but we don't have anything in it. Again, that's not a problem. We just select the 2 quizzes that I've identified, come down to the bottom, click to move to quizzes. Now we have 2 categories, attendance and quizzes, but we're not applying a weight to them yet. In order to do that, we need to edit the overall grade scheme of class grades. So find the very top row of the grading area, again in Setup, slide across, you find Edit, click Edit Settings. In this edit settings area, again, we're editing the overall grade scheme. We're going to change this from simple weighted mean of grades to weighted mean of grades. Leave everything else the same. Click Save Changes. You'll now see a slight change in our grade system. We now have an additional column called weight. And right now we have zeros in here because we haven't told it what we want. But let's say, for example, we wanted to make our quizzes worth 25% and our attendance 25% and our quizzes 75% of the total score. I can enter those values in there, click Save Changes. We've now applied grade weights to the two categories that we created. So just to recap, in this JetNet tutorial, I've shown you how to create grade categories by going to Setup, coming to the bottom, Add Category, and then I've shown you how to move different grade items into those categories. And then finally, I've shown you how to edit the overall grade scheme of your class grades in order to apply weighted mean of grades. Once you apply weighted mean of grades to your grade scheme, you can choose the relative value or weight for each category that you've created. Be aware that if you choose this system and you create grade items that are outside of a weighted category, each item will be figured into the grades in a way that is not consistent with a weighted grade system. So when you create a weighted grade system, you need to remember to create a category for every item and make sure that every category has the appropriate weight.